Hello and welcome to my second video of the year. It's grey and miserable in January and I thought I'd make something that is not going to give instant colour right now, but I think it's going to be something really beautiful when it does start to bloom and come to life. I'm going to be really pleased I did it. It's just a quick one and it's really simple. It couldn't be simpler. These are Amaryllis or Hippeastrum is the actual name for them. Amaryllis is the kind of common name that we all use, but actually Hippeastrum is where you might find them if you can't find them under Amaryllis. Now, typically these are sold before Christmas and planted up so that they bloom over the Christmas period. They're a bulb that originates either South Africa or South America. So they like warm conditions, hence bringing them into the house, but they're much cheaper to buy in the Christmas sales. Now, I actually bought all of these for less than £1 a bulb. And considering it takes about 6 years to get a bulb this size, that really is sale price. They're normally £7 to £10 a bulb. So I saw them on sale. I thought, you know what? After Christmas is when I want a little bit of life and a little bit of colour in the house. So I'm going to grab these. I did give some as presents, but I actually kept these for myself. They are stripy. So when they grow a really big tall stem, and at the top you get a really big kind of trumpet looking, slightly lily looking flower. And I've got a stripy pink and white and also a lemony yellow colour, which I think should go quite well together, be a bit of an explosion of colour, but that's what I want. I also found a few bags of blue and white hyacinths, and I might tuck those around as well, and I'm expecting they'll bloom a lot quicker than my Amaryllis will, which will give me a really lovely longer show. But it couldn't be any simpler and really quick to do. So have a look for Hippeastrums or Amaryllis in your garden centres at the moment. I saw some today in my local garden centre. They were half price, which meant they were £3, I think. Mine were from Thompson & Morgan. They had a huge bulb sale kind of before Christmas. They sold off all their tulips and things, and I bought them then. So definitely worth kind of looking out for, and maybe holding your horses when all those autumn catalogues come in that make us want to buy all the bulbs. Maybe just kind of wait. You might not get all the colours you want that way, but will mean it's a bit easier on the bank balance. Okay, so what I'm doing is what I've got in my pot, I'll just show you. It's a mixture. It's peat-free compost. I always use peat-free on the farm. It's more expensive, but it's much better for the environment. Peat-free, I've mixed in some horticultural grit and a bit of sand, and that's just to make the, I don't want the mixture too heavy. I don't want it to hold lots and lots of water. These need water to get going, but when they are actually showing some green and they've got roots, they need less water. So I've made the soil quite free draining, and I'm burying the bulbs about 2/3. See the roots starting? And that's a baby one. The roots want the roots to go look for water, but I want to actually see that bulb poking out the top. They've got a lovely look to them. It's almost kind of, I don't know, prehistoric. I just love them. I think they're actually really beautiful looking bulbs. I actually want to still see them, so I'm not burying them right up to the neck. I just want those roots to go in the soil. And a little trick that we do on the flower farm to get plants to root down quicker, and especially cuttings, is to actually withhold water in the beginning, not bone dry, so those roots actually have to go looking for water, and then that encourages root growth. So it's a little trick that we do on the flower farm, sometimes with cuttings, rooted cuttings, or maybe some bulbs that we're trying to shoot a bit faster. So yeah, that's kind of like just withhold the water just as they're starting to grow roots, and of course then when they're rooted and they're going, then you can water as normal. These like to be damp but not over watered. Okay, so I've just nestled all those in really quickly. I've got some blue and white mixture of hyacinths. Now I know that the purple ones are blue ones and the white ones are white ones. I just know that from having grown them every year. And again, I'm just going to want to see them. I'm going to pop them in and around. No kind of like order. Pop that one there. Now the thing about all these bulbs and growing all these bulbs is when they shoot up in our house, because our homes are warm, or warmer than the outside at least, they are looking for support because they grow fast, and they grow faster than what the plant tissue can support itself. So I've been outside and had a really good kind of stomp around, and I got some beautiful catkins, and these I actually bought from the supermarket last week, and they've been kind of just in my hallway, and I thought actually they would look really pretty as well. That's why I've used soil with these, because you don't actually have to grow these in soil at all. You can grow all of these bulbs just in a water source. You know those, if you've ever seen them, those hyacinth vases where you've just got the little kind of bulb bit at the top and then there's a narrower neck and the roots go down. You can grow all of them just in water, which can be a really beautiful and fun thing to do with kids. My kids like to watch them grow and they can see the roots and then the flower pops straight up. But the problem with those is, of course, in our warm houses, the flower shoots really fast and then they get floppy and they flop over. With this, I'm going to add some support by using some winter branches and some bits and bobs that I've found. So I think I'm kind of full up, can you see? Probably enough in there going on. And it's not going to be a show, like I say, for right now. This is going to, you know, hopefully I'm kind of looking at February, maybe late January, just to give me a bit of colour and a bit of life for later on. But this isn't going to be kind of colourful straight away. So I've just grabbed some blossom branches. I've got some winter flower and honeysuckle branches. I'll cut that a little bit shorter. And it's just to give a bit of a nest of branches for the flowers when they grow up. Amaryllis can be quite tall. They get to about 40-50 centimetres tall and they are quite top heavy. So they do need a little bit of support. So I've just been out and we had a few trees down in the storms over the autumn and we haven't quite yet cleared them away. So I've just been snipping a few like old apple tree branches and just anything. And then these gorgeous catkins from some hazels that we have a line of. I just thought how beautiful that is. They do drop pollen. So, and I don't know if they are a problem for people with allergies, but just do bear that in mind if you've got a very precious table. The yellow pollen does get everywhere. And I just want to push that all the way to the bottom, so it's definitely secure. It's not very secure there, so I'm going to move it. That's better. Oh yeah, I just thought these pussy willow from, I think they were from Tesco. I think they had a British label on them actually. I think that's why I thought it wasn't too bad to buy them. But they're definitely in season. We grow some on the flower farm actually. We grow a pink variety and a black variety, but they're not kind of flowering as such yet. And I just thought that was just really wintry. I'm going to cut it down a little bit more. Put a few of these around. You can, I've seen people put these around the edge and then bunch them at the top, which can look really pretty. If you want a slightly more structured looking arrangement, I quite like it looking a bit wild and a bit untamed, but that's just me. My mum would say that that's just normal for my garden. It's always a little bit rewilded, which is my excuse for it being a mess. But it's good for the wildlife, so it's fine. We're sticking to that. There we go, a few more. And really, just how simple is that? I mean, it couldn't have been quicker. I'm going to pop this on a saucer because the bottom obviously could make a mess, so just be careful, bear that in mind if you're using a terracotta outdoor pot, which is what this is. Just bear in mind, put it on something. I'm going to pop it, I'm just going to forget about it. I'm going to pop it on a sideboard somewhere. I'm not really going to, worry about it too much. It's going to be beautiful and of interest, but the flowers as such aren't going to appear yet. I'm just jumping ahead of myself and just giving myself something to do that's working with nature today, which is so lovely and such a lovely excuse to come out and be outside. It's actually stopped raining. And just to work with something real for 5 minutes. This is our time on the flower farm. January we don't sell any flowers because we don't have any flowers to sell. I could order flowers in and sell them, but actually we take this time to get really organised for the year ahead. When we are harvesting and when we're growing, we don't stop for those months. I mean, from March through to November. Every single day there is something that needs our care, something needs watering, something needs harvesting, and it's relentless. Taking any time off is almost impossible. So the winter, even though it's really hard to do, we're trying to force ourselves to just be okay to be inside. We still need to check stuff on the farm, there's still stuff growing that needs just looking at, but actually taking that time to winter, to literally be in winter and just not stop, but just slightly hibernate. I think I'm better at it than my husband. He just wants to be out there all the time. But it's nice to go at a slightly slower pace. Having said that, I then miss being outside and just like hearing the birds and you know, just being out there, it just calms your brain. At least it does for me, and I thoroughly recommend it. If you don't take the time, maybe make this the year to get out there and just walk. Just, you don't even have to do. Just walk, or just be outside. Watch the birds for 5 minutes. Put your phone down. I'm so guilty of that at the moment. That's the worst thing about the winter, is I tend to always have my phone in my hand. And I am trying really hard to not do that. It's just, apart from anything, I don't want my kids to see me constantly with my phone in my hand. It just is so distracting. So yeah, this is just a really fun little project, and I'm kind of loving that. Now you could, and I think I'm going to top dress this with moss, and I've got some left over from making our Christmas wreaths, but you could just go outside and literally rake it off your lawn, someone's lawn, anyone's lawn. But I think I'm just going to look at it. It actually looks really pretty just with the soil, and I did think you could top dress with horticultural grit, might actually look really lovely, or some gravel, like the smaller size gravel, that pea gravel. There is a nice product which I think uses old shells from like the seafood industry. They take shells and crush them. I've forgotten the name of it, but there is a company that does that, and that's like a really lovely topper for things, which could be another really nice one. I'm going to just pop, I'm not going to absolutely smother it in moss, but just for that, I'm a bit obsessed with woodlands. It does look, again, I've made another woodland. I was going to show you what I made last week, which was my living wreath, using some hellebores, using my wreath base from Christmas. And I was just going to show you a week on how it's looking. But I'm kind of loving the wintry. Oh, and I picked this seed head, kind of, it's an old, if you can see that, it's one of the dandelion family. It gets those little yellow flowers. I think it was like kind of late summer this one came up. I might just pop it in there. You know, I walked past it in the field and it rattled. It's full of seed, and I don't know, I just thought it was quite pretty and quite architectural, so I'm going to pop that in. I've got all these shorter bits of willow, which I'm going to have a little play with and think about something to do with those. I don't think I want them in there because I think they're going to look too squat, so I'm not going to pop those in. And look, all these little bits of willow have popped off, so I'm actually just going to pop those. How sweet are those? I know my youngest is going to love those. He's going to pick them all out. And I'm going to pop them as if they've just fallen off onto the floor. A little bit more moss around here. And then, yeah, I've just kind of created something which I know when this is flowering is going to give me a lot of joy. I'm going to water it now, and then I'm going to probably leave it until I know that there's some roots forming, and it doesn't take very long, especially with the hyacinth, for those roots to form. And you can always have a little check if you want, just have a little scrabble around with your fingers, get in there and just check the roots are forming. Don't be alarmed if you don't see any movement for a little while. They take a bit of time to get going. I did see in the garden centre, I was at the garden centre this morning, and they had some lovely little snowdrops in pots, and I was really tempted by them, but I was just being a little bit careful about, you know, money, and I just thought, actually, I'm not going to buy them, but that would be such a lovely addition. If you didn't want to do all the twigs and make a big thing, you could have put lots of little bulbs, and these snowdrops look really pretty this morning. So there's lots of options you could pop in and around, but I just thought today I'm just going to keep it wintry. Going to keep it twiggy and simple. So there is my hyacinth and hippeastrum or amaryllis bulb, which I know is going to give me an awful lot of joy. Actually, before it flowers, when it flowers, and it's just been so lovely to come outside and do something with nature. We'll just show you, pop this over here and show you what my wreath looks like a week on. So I've been watering it probably every 2 to 3 days. We've had the heating on, has been quite cold, so it's dry. It would dry out quite quickly. But the hellebores have been opening out. Look how beautiful that is, and I've just really enjoyed having that little bit of real life on my kitchen table. I mean, it's quite big, so we do move it to the end of the table when we all sit down for dinner. But just there's times when the table's just no one sat there, you know, and you catch it out the corner of your eye. It's been really lovely to have something just alive and just looking beautiful and growing. And the kids have kind of messed around with it and played with it, but I've really enjoyed it. Some bits have gone over, some of my viburnum I see has gone over, And actually, maybe these little small bits of willow I could pop in, but yeah, I think maybe I'll have a little play with that. But yeah, so that was my Christmas wreath that I recreated from last week, and yeah, I hope that's given you something that might give you some ideas, some things to play with, and some things to do over the next few weeks. And so the January blues don't get you down too much, and before we know it, it's going to be spring. Okay, thanks for watching.